Hey guys, it's Sherry Vegas and welcome back to my channel. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can add your own custom inlays into resin coasters. To get started, you're just going to need a few items. I am using some inlays that I purchased from Cellar, and I'll add all the links below to that. And they have a wide variety of different inlays, which is basically just metallic printed designs on, I think, what is acetate, and then you just encase those into the resin. I'm using the Barnes epoxy cast resin today. This has been designed to be a casting resin, so it's going to work well using this in my coaster molds. I've just got some coaster molds from Amazon, but you can use whatever style that you have on hand. These are just the geo shapes, and I'll add all of the links below to that. Whatever colors you want to use, so I'm using a lilac, opal from Archery Creation, and titanium white, as well as a little gold leaf in my design. I've got my 3 coaster molds, and I'm just going to give them a clean out before I do my first layer of resin. I like to just clean my coaster molds out. You can either get some tape and just pick up any dirt or dust that way. This is a great method, especially if there's any big bits, or you can use, like, you know, some spray and wipe, some alcohol spray, and get any dirt or dust out like that, because whatever is in here when you pour is going to set into your coasters. The 3 colors that I'm going to be using, I've got a lilac shimmer, titanium white, and then I've got this opal color from Archery Creations. And I'm going to kind of pour it where I have purple and kind of like white down the center, and a little bit of gold leaf mixed through in the first pour. So I keep all my old gold leaf flakes from when I do my big pieces, like all of that leftover. And it's great to add into smaller pieces like this, especially when you do want those flakes. So every time you do like a big piece and you dust all those extra gold leaf bits off, it's always good to save them because you can keep reusing them. The resin that I have today is the epoxy cast resin from Barnes. This resin is a great resin to use for casting because it's designed for it. It's slow setting, so this will probably take about 4 to 6 hours before I can add my inlays into them and do my top coat. But it is great because it gets a lot less bubbles than just a traditional epoxy resin that's designed for art, because it's a bit thinner. So these have been sitting here for about 3 or 4 hours, and they're at that perfect gelling point where it's time to add in my inlays. These are really beautiful. They've got that really nice metallic sheen to them. They are just going to be placed in, and right now is the perfect time because the resin isn't fully set, but it's still a little bit tacky. So wherever I place them, they're going to stick down really nicely. And I've just decided to go for like these 3 different sort of faces, and I'm going to kind of put them a little bit off center. So I'm just working out kind of where I'd like my placement to be, and just tapping them into place. Careful not to touch the actual resin. Just tapping out any little air bubbles as well. You don't want to do this when you first pour your resin just because it will be moving a lot. So by doing this at this stage, the resin has stopped moving, so these aren't going to sink in by accident. Just like that, and then I'm going to let that fully set and come back and do a top coat, so that way they're going to be embedded right in the center of my coasters. It's the next day and these are all set, so it's time to do my second coat, and I think they're looking really pretty. I'm just going to do a clear top coat and just put a tiny little amount of the opal shimmer in it just to give the top coat a little bit of a shine, but not too much where it overpowers it. It is the next day and it is time to demold my coasters. I think they've turned out absolutely amazing. I am really happy with how these are looking. I think they're really beautiful and elegant, and you can see that I've got my little inlay in there with the gold leaf and the purple with that really nice subtle like opal going through the white. There's some really pretty like detail. The last step is I just want to, the last step for these coasters, and this is personal preference, like honestly this looks really pretty the way it is. I just like to add a gold border just to kind of finish them off. I feel like it really does complete them. All I'm going to use is my gold leaf pen from Krylon. It's the 18 karat gold leafing pen and some sandpaper. So I just like to go around and sand the edges just because I find the pen sticks a lot better once the edges are a little bit roughed up because resin's like super slick. And then this is just like 1000 grit, so it's not really like going to leave any sanding marks. It's just to give it a bit more of a matte texture, just so that way when the pen goes on it really holds well. And if you've got any sharp edges too on top of the coaster, like now's the time to kind of take those down a bit. These are pretty good. There's no real sharp edges, but I do just want to move that little shine just along the edge, just like that, and I'm going to repeat that on the other three. There are a few different ways that you can add the gold edging or whatever metallic edging you want to your coasters. I like using the pen. If you have watched previous videos, I do try a few different ways, but the pen is super easy and doesn't have much mess with it. I do find I do have to do 2 coats, but I find that with any sort of like way to add the edging, you kind of always have to do 2 coats. Just so that way you get a really beautiful bold metallic color coming through and you don't get any sort of brush marks. And I also just like to add like that little edging on top. I think that looks really pretty. Thank you guys so much for watching that tutorial. It was a lot of fun to make, and definitely go and check out Cellar if you want to try some inlays. They were super easy to use, and you can do so many different designs with those different patterns in your resin and then different designs of their inlays and create a whole bunch of varieties of resin coasters. You could also take this technique and put it into really any sort of resin casting that you're going to be doing. I definitely plan on using these in some more tutorials, but let me know what you think of these inlays in the comment box below. Is this something that you would like to try out with your resin casting pieces? Let me know just down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, as that really does help me out. It also lets YouTube know to share this video to more people that like resin. And if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe, and don't forget to to hit that notification bell so that way you get notified every single week I post a new video. It's all to do with arts, craft and DIY. So thank you guys so much for watching.